Hello everyone, welcome back to the day 2 of the Pokemon Trading Card Game TCG Regional Championships here in Bremen. I'm Freya Pierce, I'm here with Amy Wosley, and we just saw Stefan once again come onto the stream and do remarkably well. I think that makes her for free for free.
It does, yeah. He's been on a lot this weekend, but definitely deservedly so.
Yeah, no question about it. And our round 11 has been paired up now. We are just about ready to go straight into things. Now, we're going to be featuring for this round someone who we did feature in day 1, but sadly we managed to feature their only loss of the day, that being Philip Schulz.
So hopefully this time we get to see the deck in all of its glory, because clearly it's doing fantastic things.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And he was facing off against someone who has been playing for a while, but we haven't featured on stream here today, and that is David Sturm, so who's had some success in the past and is clearly come back and doing very well today here in day 2 at the top table.
I'm sure this is going to be a very, very big match and a tussle to the finish,
Yes,
probably.
yeah, no question about it. So, yeah, matchup-wise, of course, we're on from Philip's side. We will be seeing that Arceus V-Star Cinccino deck coming up once more, and also the players' names haven't quite updated yet. And then from David's side, we're going to have a Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX Inteleon deck, which is kind of the old school, you know, Arceus variant, not old school Rapid Strike Urshifu variant, not seen in a very long time.
No, absolutely, as one of those. And the price cards are a little bit interesting on both sides, as we see the one Cinccino and a Jolteon from Philip, two of their bigger cards in this matchup, with the Jolteon being able to switch off David's Inteleon and Drizzle engine.
Yeah, and David is having to pick up the EV briefly just to read it, see what it does. Of course, Philip starting off with a level ball here, going to be able to look through his deck and sort of see what's available to him and what isn't. Like you mentioned, there's one Jolteon in the prizes, but thankfully, unlike a lot of lists, it might play like a 1-1 line of EV of the Jolteon, but Philip is playing the 2-2 line, so he will still be able to get a Jolteon set up, thankfully.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday, thankfully, so that's good news. David seems to have a very stacked hand full of Sobbles.
Oh my goodness!
There was at least 3 Sobble in David's hand right now. So David's maybe not got such a scary time here, because if they can just get those Sobbles set up before a Jolteon can even appear, then hopefully they'll be able to do what they need to do, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think, so in theory, it's safe to say that David is very favoured in this matchup. Of course, the fighting type hitting for weakness on the Arceus V and Arceus V-Star, and being able to pick off the poor Cinccinos with 90 HP, going to fall quite quickly to a G-Max Rapid Flow. However, of course, Philip does have that Jolteon to shut off the Inteleon engine, which might hurt David's consistency enough to give Philip a fighting chance.
So we'll see what happens here, because it's going to be really interesting to see how Philip works around the fact that they don't have any protection from the weakness from David's side.
Yeah, because there is no Dunsparce here in Philip's list. Now, David will be smiling a little bit here, seeing that Philip hasn't even been able to get out an Arceus down. Maybe either it was hard to see exactly what was in Philip's hand. I don't know if he just like couldn't get to it, or if he just decided to not bench one on purpose. But yeah, not quite able to get set up really, and just being forced to attach an energy to the EV and then passing. Meanwhile, David going ahead and using that mysterious tail ability to look at the top 6 cards of the deck and pick an item. It's like he's agonizing between an Evolution Incense, an Air Balloon, and a Level Ball. And
yeah, David's clearly weighing up their state of play here and figuring out what their game plan's going to be. I'm sure they're aware of Philip's deck by this point. It's been around a lot. There were quite a few players from their group playing it yesterday. Philip was the only one who made it today too, I believe, though, with this deck.
That's true.
So really is the star of the show in regards to getting this one working well and consistently.
Yeah, now, interesting to note from David Sturm, like you mentioned, he actually started with 3 Sobbles in his hand, but only opted to play down 2 for now, and also had a Rapid Strike Urshifu V to bench, so put that down, whacked a fighting energy on it straight away, and now is just doing that deck search to have a check and see what is available to him and what isn't.
Yeah, the threat of the EV is quite nice here, because David automatically knows if I overcommit on these Sobbles and that Jolteon goes down, he's at a disadvantage.
Yes. Yeah, no question there. So Now, it's although it would come in handy in this matchup, it's so looking a bit further at the list. I think I might have misspoken a little bit earlier when I said, oh, it's a more of a old school style Rapid Strike Urshifu list. We do see some dart box things going on as well. So kind of similar to like the Rapid Strike Urshifu list that have been played in the US with like the Mew engine as well, and not too dissimilar to I believe what Gustavo had a lot of success with at the EUIC too. Although, unlike Gustavo, David is there's no Snorlax in this list. It's just like the Mew going in for the search. Oh no, there is actually a Snorlax in the list as well. So actually, David opting for both.
Yeah, no, it seems like a really well balanced list. They've certainly done
Yeah.
a lot of testing. You can see that they are ready for a lot of different matchups in this format.
Yeah, and no time wasted at all. Jolteon down, Memory Capsule down, Cinccino down, plus Marnie. That is why Philip wants to hold on to that hand.
Absolutely, that was fantastic. So poor David is left with 2 Sobble, with not much to do with them yet. Now, the Jolteon active could be a little bit scary though, because Urshifu can still take that out. So I imagine they'll be wanting to retreat that Jolteon when they can.
Yeah, and this is the problem, right? Because yeah, Philip has what, by any stretch of the imagination, should be a pretty amazing setup here, right? But look what he has to do now. He has to bring up the Arceus V with the double turbo energy, and we'll be able to go for a Trinity charge to load up the Arceus V on the bench. But all it takes is one Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, and either he attaches a double turbo and then goes knockout on the active, knockout on the turbo bench, or even if he misses the Rapid Strike energy, just a Gale Thrust knocks out the Arceus V still. So David is not going to be too dissatisfied with his position unless, of course, he has a dead hand, which actually I think he does.
Yeah, the Jolteon's only got 100 HP, so if David was able to get the Urshifu and use G-Max Rapid Flow, then that Jolteon's very, very much in danger.
Yeah, so that's going to be what David goes for without a doubt. I did see the Rapid Strike energy in David's hand, but no way to retreat the Mew and no way to get to a Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. So he's going to be wanting to try and find both those things here. It looks like, is it Coop up net? Yep. So
that's the Mew out of active potentially,
yes.
But we're still going to struggle for the VMAX. Now, is it 100 blows?
100 furious blows.
Furious blows.
Not the first.
150.
Not the first time we've seen that attack on stream either.
No,
so
I mean it does 150 damage. It would double for the Arceus, and they've opted to bring forward the one with 3 water energy already ready. Yeah,
so this is cool because of course that one Arceus that has the 3 basic engines on it, that won't be hindered in damage by the double turbo. So that's slightly more of a damaging threat compared to the other Arceus V. So David recognizing this and going for that, could have opted to take down the Jolteon as well. That way, of course, you would have been less worried about a potential for get bricking because you aren't able to make use of your shady dealings. But like we already discussed, all it takes is for David to find one Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, and that Jolteon is history.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, poor Cinccino or Minccino will go down with it. So 2 prize cards could get a bit scary here. They might go opt for sort of damaging an Arceus V, but I think they know they've got the 1-hit KO on those in this situation. So I think disabling Philip's ability to draw lots of cards on their turn and taking out that Jolteon so they can start to use their Dressage would be imperative. Now, interestingly, David did not get the Urshifu VMAX off their prize cards.
No.
There was one available to them. They didn't hit it, and still no way of searching it quite yet.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of energy in David's prize cards as well. Still 2 darks and a fighting in there. And we do. What did he actually get off of the prizes? It's hard to.
It was a level ball.
A level ball and then something else, right? It was.
I think it was another Urshifu V possibly. But
okay. Yes. You're actually right. That is what it was.
But it wasn't the VMAX, which
No.
is what I imagine he really wanted to see.
Yeah. Now it's sort of this list here. It is only playing a 2-2 line of the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, so there will only be 1 left in the deck for David to access, with one of them being prized, and he's going to want to see that as soon as possible. Not impossible to get, but
certainly increasingly difficult without the ability to Drizzile for it. They are more so reliant on the top deck of an Evolution Incense, a supporter that could draw some lots of cards.
Actually, there might be an Evolution Incense in the hand.
Oh,
possibly.
really?
At least not that I saw. So maybe that was the other prize.
Ah, okay. If it was evolution incense, and that
Unless
definitely changes
oh no,
things.
oh no, sorry, that's a scoop up now.
It was the net.
They both have blue backgrounds. I got confused.
They do. They do. No, it's an easy mistake to make that one because they do. They do. But they do very different things, and unfortunately, it doesn't help
No.
David in this situation.
No, just good one. That would be great if you could make use of your Drizzle engine. Then it'd be fantastic. But instead, Philip Schulz going for the, what is it? I believe it's called
Energy mix.
Yeah, energy, or is it energy something? But it does 40
Mix,
damage. Is it
yeah.
energy mix? Okay.
Yeah.
So it lets you attach one energy. Oh, there's an Avery top deck from David. That's pretty solid.
Ooh.
Just lets just 3 cards drawn. And oh, is that a Drizzle that got drawn?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. In any other situation, that would be the find, but not this time, unfortunately.
But getting a second Urshifu set up in this instance isn't awful. The Hooper goes down. Oh, and retreat for the exact damage amount needed for a Chinchino KO.
I like this a lot because you know that the Arceus, you know that the Arceus V-Star is an attacking threat that can actually KO your Rapid Strike Urshifu V, so protect it, get the KO something else. I like this play a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a really fantastic idea. The Hooper isn't as scary as if you lose a Hooper.
Yes.
But losing one of your Urshifu when you know that you've only got one Urshifu VMAX in deck. Again, David probably really praying that that prize card was the Urshifu VMAX. So taking the Chinchino knockout was probably a real desperate pry at trying to grab that Urshifu because it's probably easier at this point for them to get it out of the prize cards rather than deck.
Yes, yeah, just a bit. Also, just to clarify from earlier, actually, Energy Mix, that's the one on the Mew VMAX. On the Chinchino's Energy Assist, that's what it was. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's pretty close to be fair. So, yeah, meanwhile there, speaking of the Chinchino, there's the Make Do being activated there. Just going to discard the Evolution Incense, draw another couple of cards. And I imagine Philip really wants to find a boss's orders here, which is... it's a bit of a shame because I saw Philip actually discarded one earlier from another Make Do. I think at the time it was the best thing to discard, but you would have really wanted out this turn now.
Yeah, and then they're threatening the second Eevee, knowing they don't have the Jolteon. That's very clever.
Yes.
To psych David out a little bit, thinking, oh no, if I get rid of one Jolteon, there's another.
yeah, it's true. And
it also protects the Chinchino.
Yeah, it does. That is very true as well. Although there could still be... Actually, David could still win this turn, because there's only 3 prize cards left, and that Rapid Strike Urshifu V has a choice belt on it. So that would do 150 to the active, and then knock out something on the bench for the win. And I think that's what David's going to be going for. Yeah, going to be putting up the Mew into the active there. And we know that there is an air balloon in hand as a scoop up there as well.
And a bird keeper.
Is that a bird keeper?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes, okay. So... basically got almost everything needed, and the evolution incense as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So David is literally only 1 rapid strike energy away from winning this game at this point. That's all that's missing.
That is all that's missing. The last piece of the puzzle. It'll be interesting to see where they go here.
It's kind of what I imagine the best move to make is go for the Mew, just to thin 1 more item out the deck if you find it, and then Bird Keeper and pray, and just hope that you hit it. I think that might be the best move to make, because even then, worst case scenario, you Gale Thrust and knock out the Arceus V-Star, which is pretty solid anyway.
Yeah, and then you're just 1 prize away from winning.
Yep.
Philip still has to take 5 prize cards.
Yes.
So even knocking out the first Urshifu VMAX wouldn't be the end of the world for David, especially considering they play things like Moltres, which can just pop out of nowhere.
Yes.
And deal some massive damage.
Yes, no question. And you could even get a little bit greedy here if you wanted to. If you're David, you could have you have a Scoop in hand already. You could play that and then get another one from the Mysterious Tail. Play that one as well and get another use out of Mew. But it looks like David opted to go for the Power Pad instead. And here we go. Going for the Bird Keeper. Rapid Strike Energy will win the game here, but if not, David is still in a very solid position. So and in fact, Philip just acknowledges that and just concedes the game, and we're moving on to game 2.
Yeah, very, very clever plays and some real brain battling there, making sure that they're psyching out their opponent, trying to make sure that Jolteon is a real threat to David there, but unfortunately, not that time.
Yes, so David able to take that game 1 and kind of showing, I guess, just how strong the matchup really is for David's deck. There's so many different ways in which the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX threatens Philip's board, right? You can take KOs into small things, you're threatening hitting for weakness on the Arceus. It's it's a bit of a struggle.
It is a tough matchup for Philip.
It is, but not impossible because
No, not at all.
because we did see there, David did struggle with the setup early on. He had 2 sobbles down, wasn't able to make use of them at all because as soon as the Jolto came down, the memory capsule, those shady dealings were turned off.
It really did take a lot longer for them to get that Urshifu VMAX than they were wanting. So if in this game we can see them get it a bit faster, could spell disaster.
Yes, it could. Or we could see an even worse version where maybe Philip gets the Jolto really early again, and then this time David finds nothing, and that's probably Philip's best chance into this matchup, honestly.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It really does come down to David really needing those Urshifu and Philip having the ability to shut down that search where they only play the 2-2 line.
Yes.
If their ability to search their deck is turned off, then it's so difficult to get those numbers. Well, really, before we saw the rise of the Drizzle engine, you didn't see many 2-2 lines because they were considered inconsistent and it's not easy enough to get them and you're not going to see them every game. But now it's like, well, I can just pop into my deck and get whatever I need to make that happen.
Yeah,
so the moment you shut that off, it becomes difficult.
Yeah, and there's always a balance between wanting to squeeze as many attacking options into your deck as possible, but also making sure that you see those options every single game, which is kind of why Inteleon is one of the few things that actually gets away with that. Oh my goodness, those prizes for Philip.
They're awful. Oh my goodness.
That's both. How many Chinchino does he play?
3, luckily.
Okay, so he has access to 1.
1 Chinchino, 1 Minchino, a Jolteon, an Arceus V, and a V-Star, and the prizes are that's a little bit scary for me.
Yeah, that's not liking that, and I don't think Philip is either, given that once again his start is just attach Water Energy to the active and pass. David starts off with a Sonya, it looks like, able to get 2 basics out of the deck.
Yeah, quite handy for them really, because just starting the Moltres isn't too fantastic for them. No,
that's something you want to sort of put down later on as like attacking threat once your opponent has taken some prize cards, but also not really something you really care about too much in this specific matchup because you just want to be hitting stuff for your fighting weakness, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Moltres doesn't matter too much. David probably wouldn't be too worried if it got knocked out, and similarly, they might be able to bring it back to the bench or scoop it up. Yeah. So it's not too much of a problem.
No, and looks like David they're going for. Interesting enough, might be going for a super aggressive play here, so not even bothering with the Sobbles, just going Rapid Strike Urshifu V plus Hooper. Are we going to see a switch in Assault Gate? Or rather, scoop up net, perfect, even better. That way the Moltres can play down later. And yeah, attach Assault Gate KO.
Super aggressive. Philip only plays 2 EVs.
Yeah.
So these are the only 2 that could be seen. And David is very aware of that, thinking, right, I'll have my Sobbles for the rest of the game if I can take these 2 EV out, and Philip can't recover them with an ordinary rod.
I just noticed something. Looking at Philip's hand, I'm not sure if he has any way to draw cards.
Oh, no.
Like, I think his hand might legit be completely dead.
I mean, the EV does have a usable attack, right? So,
yeah, but it's not the one with V-Search. I think he's playing a different one. Wait, well, maybe it is. Oh, no, I think it might be. Sorry, it's German. That's why I didn't recognize the attack name's different.
V-Search.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that... Okay, there is a Marnie in hand.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I was very worried there for a second. So Jolteon manages to find its way into the field. So now David doesn't have their Sobbles as an option. So maybe it was the right play. Yeah. Absolutely, to just forego them for now.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, right? Because you take the early prize, you deny one of the EVs already. And yeah, and Philip very clearly planned this turn 1 out the same way they did in game 1. He thought, right, I have everything to get the Jolteon out. I know that I need to get this out to have a chance in this matchup, so I'm going to prioritize it.
Yeah, really important play, but it's going to be scary for their card draw. They're going to be relying on a lot of supporters, and they don't run a lot of supporters because they have, theoretically, in a perfect world, 2 Chinchino out at any one time. So without that option this game,
yeah, Marnie is the pretty much only draw supporter they run. They do play 4 copies, to be fair, so
that's very good.
There's that. But the other supporters are like, Melanie, Raihan, Sharon Scaran, Boss's Orders, none of which really, well, Raihan can search a card, but Melanie requires setup in the discard pile, and there's no V to even attach to Melanie right now.
No, luckily for them, 4 Marnie is hopefully enough, but we've already used 1, and so those options become very limited very quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like Philip actually getting the 1 Minchino out of the deck already. Oh, because there was an Arceus V in hand already. And, And, oh, very clever here. So Philip, of course, with that memory capsule, is not just the thing that activates the Jolteon's ability. It is, of course, something that lets you use the attacks of the underlying evolutions from the Pokemon. So Philip making use of the memory capsule to make use of that V-Search attack. Able to get
3 Vs from the deck.
Yeah. So going for the 1 Arceus V and 2 V-Stars. I love small little things like that where it's something you never even think about, but then you realize, oh, yeah, you can do that, and that actually is the correct thing to do right now. So
Absolutely. It's a little bit scary, I suppose, leaving the Jolteon in the active.
yes.
But at the moment, it doesn't need to worry too much. Hooper can't have any damage modifiers, so 90 is the max that it can do. So the Hooper can't knock the Jolteon out right now.
No.
The Urshifu can't knock out the Jolteon right now because it has 0 energy on it. So
And
it's a little scary, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything that David can do to knock it out this turn.
also, David's only draw supporter is Avery.
They did manage to get the evolution incense, though.
Yes, but I don't think there's a way of getting this Hooper out of the active. That's the problem. There's gonna even, Pal Pad the Sonya and the Avery back in. And then after that, we're going to see there's the Metachan V in hand as well. Not very useful right now.
No, it looks like a Clara and a Boss, I think.
Yeah, it is going to go grab that evolution incense straight away. And probably, I imagine, going to be going for, the Rapid Strike VMAX.
Now, this changes things a little bit because if they, I don't know if they do, but if they have the fighting energy in hand, they can Gale Thrust for KO on the...
No, but again, how'd they retreat the Hooper? It's got a retreat cost of 2.
Oh, it does. Yeah, they'd need to find an air balloon
Yes.
as well, and that's probably a bit too much of a stretch for this turn, considering their draw spot has already been used, and all they had was Avery.
Yeah, they don't have much to work with at all, unfortunately. I think after this, it looks like David just has to pass the turn. Yeah, that's it. Wow. So able to get the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX out, but not much else. And Philip has a chance to really start doing what he needs to do and sort of find that one sort of means of actually navigating this matchup to a victory.
Yeah, we got the one Cinccino left down, which was crucial, really.
Yes.
Like to have any draw support properly this game, Philip really needed that Cinccino. So
Yes.
thankfully it's down.
And
They've got their Arceus and the V-Star
and of course,
ability.
and with that, of course, Philip was very cleverly discarded the water energy off of the Make Do. So now I imagine Philip would be searching for a double turbo energy and a Melanie off of this Starbirth. Of course, Starbirth for the V-Star power lets you on an ability grab any 2 cards from the deck. Insanely strong. Literally the whole reason why Arceus V-Star is one of the most popular cards in the format.
Arceus will be around for quite a while, I imagine.
Yes.
We will not be seeing its popularity decline. Possibly the only thing we'll see decline with Arceus is how many people run in a deck.
Yeah,
it
potentially.
may be eventually used a little bit more like a tech card where you're just using it for Starbirth and maybe a secondary attacker. But at the moment, it also doubles up so well as a primary attacker. It does 200 damage and helps you search your deck for more energy to attach to further Pokemon on the bench.
Yeah, it's not only do you get to attach a bunch of energy, you also get to do a very solid amount of damage that can KO a lot of things, and we see that right here. In comes the Trinity Nova from Philip's Arceus V-Star, going to be able to do 180 damage after the reduction from the double turbo, more than enough to knock out the Hooper, and then going to be going for, that's the Trinity Nova attaching free energies from... Actually, I think it does have to be basic energies from the deck to one of your Pokemon. So, going to be able to put free water energies onto the benched Arceus V.
It's definitely a difficult position to be in here and a tough decision for David.
Yeah, we do see a level ball come down. So, could maybe grab that first Sobble. Not that it's going to be very helpful right now. Oh, no, actually going to go for the Mew. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Mew was pretty much the main setup focal point for David in the last game because he was able to use that Mysterious Tail ability to keep getting items from the top of the deck. But does he have a way to get it into the active?
Not yet. Unfortunately, Mew is one of the best cards they have in regards to being able to search through their deck for anything right now, which is not ideal considering the matchup.
No, and in fact, David just has to Clara for the Hooper and the Dark Energy. That's probably one of the saddest Claras I've ever seen. Oh,
that is an upsetting Clara.
Yeah, unfortunate indeed. There's Dark Energy being attached onto the Mew, but no way to get this Rapid Strike Urshifu V out of the active, so David has to pass once again. And this is what we were talking about. You know, you really hindered that setup badly by getting down the Jolteon with the memory capsules, and it just makes David's deck so much more clunky. And then Philip can capitalize on that and win the game.
Yeah, Philip doesn't need to do much else. They don't need to be fast. They don't need to start taking knockouts because David's deck is working so much slower than it should. They're not really able to find anything they need. They can't search. They will run limited or lower numbers of cards that we normally run a playset of or close to because they run the Drizzle engine.
Yeah. And it's now up to Philip to maximize on this opportunity as much as he can. It does go for a level, grabbing a Pumpkaboo, won't be putting that down anytime soon, but I think More just wants to get it out of the deck and has an Evolution Incense as well, so could use that to grab another Arceus V-Star. We're going to opt to not do that, actually, and just go discard an Arceus V-Star from the hand for a Make-Do to draw 2 more cards. Oh, okay, he had the third in hand already, that's why.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is such a strong board now from Philip.
Yeah. And then
it can still come back in David's favor if they can start attacking with fighting types soon.
Yes, and again, very heads up from Philip, actually goes for the boss's orders onto the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, kind of taking away that option for a random switch card plus fighting energy to do a strong Gale for us to take a knockout. That's really, really strong from Philip. Because now that Rapid Strike VMAX is, that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX rather is kind of just sitting there not doing much, and David is also sitting there not doing much. And
unfortunately, it looks like the second Urshifu is getting ready instead.
Yeah.
And the poor first one is being left.
And honestly, at this point, if I'm David, I'm considering conceding this game because you're going to get knocked out here, and Philip's only going to be 2 prices away from winning. And at this point, you know that it's a favorable matchup for you. So conceding a game where your setup just got hindered and you got like a little bit unlucky with your own setup, just move on to game 3 and just make sure you have more than enough time to see out that full series.
I mean, the comeback chance is strong, though, because if they do make the second Urshifu into a VMAX, this one gets knocked out. That means Philip takes 3 more prize cards. Moltres is incredibly powerful at this point. So if
that's true, actually.
If they can VMAX this Urshifu and attack with it this turn,
then yes.
Then they do have a chance, and I think it's worth hanging in there for the sake of Philip's now on what, 2 prize cards, which means Moltres is going to do massive damage. That is
very true, actually. So it's going to come down to really what he finds off this mysterious tail. If he can find something good to work with here, then yes. If not, then maybe at this point that's when David thinks that it's my best to move on. We do see an energy search that does grab the fighting energy. That is a quick ball as well, discarding the Metachan V, it looks like. Not going to be much use there. And now David finally goes for that Snorlax with, of course, the Gourmandize ability. When it's in the active, you can use it, and then you draw cards, so you have 7 in hand, but if you do, your turn ends. And I think David just needs these extra cards right now to set up because, like we've already said, the Inteleon engine isn't doing anything for him right now.
No, so Mew and Snorlax are really their only outs here in regards to drawing cards and creating consistency for their deck. And I'm glad they play them because that's exactly what they're for.
Yeah, it's 100% what is needed right now. So yeah, there's the Gourmandize, going to be drawing 5 cards, including, looks like a Cynthia's Ambition, and not. So the Cynthia's Ambition is great, but only if you're able to play your hand down a lot, and I don't know how much of David's hand he can actually play down right now.
Not loads. I think they can get rid of a fair few, but not as many as you'd want for a Cynthia. But they are likely to get knocked out now, so they'll be drawing up to 8, which is going to help out. But they just drew quite a lot thanks to Snorlax, so they're going to have to just try and play through as many of those cards as possible to see what we actually want to see, which is that possibly the Rapid Strike energy, and the Urshifu, or even just the Urshifu, so we can Gale Thrust, and then some sort of out for Snorlax from the active.
I'd just like to point out, this is so upsetting for Philip. He's taken 4 prizes, but the last 2 prizes are still the 2 remaining Chinchinos.
The 2 Chinchino hurts because the Minchino's there ready on bench for them. He's like, come on, friends, join the party. But they said, no, we're still tired.
It's like, I want to evolve too.
They're still in bed having a cozy, and poor Minchino's going to be lonely for at least 1 more turn.
Yeah, so here goes another Marnie, it looks like, from Philip after benching a 3rd Arceus V with double turbo energy. So I mean, the insane turn this turn would have been Choice Spell, Boss's Orders, KO the Rapid Strike Urshifu V. That's game over, but not able to quite find that just yet. In fact, maybe has Philip maybe done David a favor? Because although the Mani puts David down to a much lower hand size, I think the cards that David has to work with might actually be better now. Oh no, I take that back.
2 scoop up nets, but that does give Snorlax a valid target for a scoop up.
Yes, that is true.
So it might be okay, but losing that Cynthia's ambition is quite big.
He would have liked to keep that. I'd have thought.
Double scoop up net does allow him to scoop up the Snorlax Mew inactive for Mysterious Tail and
then
scoop up the Mew. So
okay,
it's not the worst. I think the top deck's going to be a little bit important though.
yeah. Unfortunately,
There
well,
we
yeah.
go.
The Snorlax does get KO'd, and now Philip at any point can just like bosses orders the Mew to win, and that sort of tanking with that Rapid Strike Urge for VMAX is not really a play that can go ahead anymore.
And they're definitely taking that second Chinchino now. So
Yes.
finally to Chinchino. Oops.
Yep. Hold on. Is that the... Oh, okay, he just played... I guess he drew the Avery from the hand. Yeah, so
Yeah, that must have been the top deck.
yeah, so... And at this point, Philip says, yeah, I don't even need Jolteon anymore. Like, you've got no Sobbles out. It's done its job.
Yeah, no, it's too late.
Yes.
Too little, too late. Jolteon's not needed anymore. Sobble's going down this turn won't change anything.
Yeah. And yeah, at this point, there is surely no way David can recover from this. I really, really don't see it. And if David does somehow end up winning this game, then then I don't see how that even happens at this point. But
No,
but you never know. There comes the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX.
and they finally have the energy.
Yes, they do. So that's something at least. Scoop up net as well. Wait, yeah, no, hold on. You got to do that in the right order. Yep. Do that first, then scoop up net, because now the extra damage for the attack's in effect.
I don't think it's over, you know, because they knock this Arceus. Arceus can't knock back.
Wait. Oh, and of course, and now the Mew's gone because of the scoop up net. So actually...
I think this is quite a good position.
Oh, yeah, this does change a lot, actually. Wow.
The only difficulty is they can't Gale Thrust again.
No, but
they can...
No, but they... Oh, wait, okay. I take back literally everything I said before, because now Philip is in a position where he loses the game next turn, potentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I completely misspoke. This is blowing my mind a little bit. Yeah, Philip has to bring up the Chinchino.
Yeah, they can't risk the Arceus because that is their loss condition, essentially, on this one. Because a Gale Thrust would do double damage to the active and then take out a Chinchino on bench for sure. So that would be 3 prize cards, and that's all David needs left. So a boss's orders here would seal the deal.
So, yeah, so scoop up net, really the absolute key find, able to get that last little bit of setup in place and then make sure to pick up all of those easy prizes for Philip, leaving just the free prize Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX in the active. And all of a sudden, after David was like struggling for so long, he's only one attack away from winning this game.
Absolutely, and that's why you should never give up.
No.
In a deck like David's, especially because they run the Moltres, never give up. And the weakness is so imperative in this matchup that Arceus is too scared to come into the active because it cannot one-hit KO an Urshifu.
No.
So Philip might be in a really tricky situation here because David can just pick Philip's board apart one by one if they wanted to. They can just sit here and pick away at it.
They're unbelievable. So now Philip thinking, yeah, I'm literally one boss's orders and I lose the game. So, but I can't even attack with the my main attacker that would actually get me closer to winning myself. So, what do I do?
Poor Chinchino only does 40 damage.
Yeah. Yeah, and Energy Assist is not really going to get Philip anywhere, unfortunately, here.
No.
And, yeah, goes for the other make dude, discards the memory capsule, draws 2 more cards. Nothing really going. There's is that a level ball that just got played, it looks like? Oh, no, it's a quick ball for another Arceus? Oh, no, just looking through the deck, so just filling the hand out. And, yeah, now grabbing an Arceus with a quick ball.
Yeah, it's a really, really concerning position to be in. Philip doesn't play the Dunsparce, so they can't get rid of that weakness. That might make it a little bit safer for them, but not on this occasion. If David decides not to play anything else to the bench, they're in a very controlling position.
And let's face it, David is not going to play anything on the bench at this point.
No way, Jose. We've not seen any of the Sobbles at all.
No.
Do their thing in this, and yet David's doing fantastic. So they've made the best of this situation.
Just out of nowhere, that pivot turn with, able to find the right set of cards in the menu and having finally all the right things in place to get a Gale Thrust going and just suddenly put out a fearsome attacking presence that Philip just can't deal with without losing himself. Wow, yeah, this is
This has really come down to the wire.
yeah. So David clearly knowing his deck better than I ever could, knowing that actually no, I don't concede here because it looks like I'm far behind, but I'm actually not because I have this game plan in mind to just pull off this insane out of nowhere turn of a recovery and to the point where I can win.
And there goes energy assist for 40 damage. Probably Philip knowing that either David's going to have the choice of, was it Strafe? And that's not going to knock out. Or G-Max Rapid Flow. Oh, it's not Strafe, is it? It's Gale Thrust.
Yeah,
but
Gale
it
Thrust.
would only do the 30, well, 60.
Yeah, Strafe is the one on the V. Yeah,
yes,
and
so they opt to take out the 2 Cinccino, leaving themselves energyless. But they have drawn some.
They have
from
drawn
their prize
some.
cards.
So I guess so this is interesting. I kind of get it, but at the same time, now Philip has a chance to do 2 attacks and win again. So
I don't know. I wouldn't be too sure because we know David has the Bird Keeper in hand, so they could bench something. They could manual retreat maybe.
Philip has just been Marnied though, unfortunately. Or rather, Philip has just played a Marnie. Yeah, so that changes things.
That Scary Moltres, Sobble, Drizzle.
And that's the other problem that David has, is that now that Marnie disruption, there are so many pieces of the Intelligent Engine in deck that and there it is. Wow. So after all that, David almost pulled off the insane recovery, but a Marnie right at the end, saving Philip and making him able to take game 2, and we will be going to a game 3 after all.
It would have been interesting to see how Philip would have reacted if David had just whittled away and done a 2-hit KO on the Cinccino with the smaller attack, just to preserve their energy.
Yeah,
and then whittle away at the second Cinccino, and then leaving only the Archaeos, and then go for the big attack.
See, I think that might have been the better play to go for right there, because that's why I was worried about. As soon as you commit to that G-Max Rapid Flow, you have to discard all the energy, and you have no way to switch and do more damage to Gale Thrust. So, and that's kind of more what I was expecting, but he decided in the end to go for the double KO on the Cincinos instead, maybe wanting to cut off Philip's consistency.
And Philip's high Marnie count just really took that away at the end then, with the not being able to return with that energy is so scary.
Yeah, it really is. So, yeah, wow. It's so we are going to be going into a game 3 now, and it's like Philip and David are discussing something, probably just discussing sort of how that game went. And these decks aren't necessarily the slowest in the world, so I think there is a chance that, especially if David sets up well, that we will see this game through to completion. But otherwise, yeah, we may be heading for a tie. It's hard to say at this point. We'll just have to see how game 3 plays out.
Absolutely.
Now, both players are just about done here setting up. I believe they've drawn their opening hands, probably going to be putting out prize cards as we speak. And then we'll be ready to go for game 3. Now, the key thing for Philip here, as always, will be to set up that Jolteon as soon as possible. And looking at the prize spread, yeah, the prizes look a lot more manageable, to be honest, for Philip.
Both sides.
Yeah. There's the Bird Keeper and the Cynthia's Ambition prize for David. That's the only thing, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, and a Metacham start is not great, actually. That's kind of more something you want to see later on in the game, I would say.
Yeah, you definitely want to see it later, but it's not an awful instance because of weakness.
Then, of course, it
could be worse.
Yeah, and of course there is that frightening Yoga Loop attack, of course, that can just go ahead and put 2 damage counts on a Pokemon, and then if you knock out something with it, you just take a whole extra turn.
That's massive. And actually getting the Snorlax down this turn is fantastic because they get to draw up to 8?
7.
7 in hand. And
yeah, this is actually a pretty ideal turn one for David.
They've played a lot of cards this turn, or scrapped a lot of cards with Ball Searchers. So this could be a really good recovery. They've committed 1 Sobble to bench. They've gone, all right, we'll see how we go, because they know that Philip's going to have to take at least 1 turn evolving a Jolteon. So they do have a window of opportunity where they can get 1 Drizzle play.
Yeah, so having the 1 Drizzle, 1 Shady Dealings that he's guaranteed is very nice, and that's the benefit of going first, of course, for David, which he was able to do because he lost, so he had a choice of whether to go first or second. And yeah, very nice being able to discard so much from the hand and end the turn on just getting that Gormandize Snorlax instantly active to draw up to 7 again. It looks like David's drawn a pretty nice hand from that as well. Lots to work with, it looks like.
Yeah, it does. They've got lots of resources, which is fantastic. It's what we want to see from the Snorlax being helpful. But at very least, the Snorlax could continue to help them in this game.
Yes.
Because they've got it out early. which is what they struggled with last game a little bit because that Snorlax came so late.
Yeah, and at that point it was just a little bit too late, unfortunately, to sort of really close things out. Quick ball, meanwhile, as the start from Philip's side, doing that first deck search. There's just under 12 minutes left on the clock. Again, not impossible to finish the game in that time, but both of these players are going to have to play lightning fast if they want to see this game through to completion. And I think it's also with Philip probably realizing that, yeah, nothing insanely vital is prized. I think the only thing that is like a one of, well, there's two one-ofs that are prized, which are the Big Charm and the Pumpkaboo, but I don't think those are two cards you're too fussed about in this matchup.
No, sadly the Big Charm doesn't help any of Philip's Pokemon stay alive from a scary fighting type attack, so it doesn't really do much. The Pumpkaboo removing to pass to the peak doesn't really help them either.
Actually, there is one small way in which it helps. If you get hit by a choice-belted Rapid Strike Urshifu V, Max, if you have a Big Charm on, you survive by 10.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So maybe it would make a small difference.
Mm-hmm. But Philip does have a very solid start here, able to get one Minccino down and has the double turbo onto the active so they can Trinity Charge and load up the bench Arceus V with free energies. Meanwhile, David has the scoop up net all ready to go.
Ooh.
And it actually has a Gale Thrust just ready there.
Taking a really early KO. Urshifu's in a really good position here. I think both players have had good starts for what their decks do.
Yes, they're very much so. Actually, the only problem for Philip is no EV down.
There is no EV down, you're quite right, and that's quite scary because we do have a Sobble already.
And
David could Drizzle, but I don't think they need to this turn.
No, I mean, maybe what happens next turn is just, a G-Max Rapid Flow KOing the Arceus V and that Cinccino on the bench, depending on what Philip finds off of this Make Do. There isn't a whole lot there, actually. Well, okay, there is an Arceus V-Star, so...
They can use the Starbirth ability. I'm not really sure what Philip wants out of this Starbirth, because there's a lot to be desired right now.
There is. Maybe like an Eevee and a Marnie, just get the Eevee down and then Marnie to...
Disrupt David's hand.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the best ports to call.
Yeah,
and
it's a very difficult one.
In fact, that's literally exactly what Philip went for. Yeah, Eevee Marnie.
Very good call. Very good call.
Nailed it. So then, quick ball, discarding a water energy as well, just to grab another Arceus V from the deck, of course, to replace the one that just got knocked out. And then after that, we will see the Marnie, and Philip just has to hope David doesn't draw too well.
If David draws into that Rapid Strike energy, it could spell disaster.
It could, and even more so that David actually has multiple outs to draw into things because, of course, Philip hasn't been able to get the Jolteon online yet, and that Sobble is sitting pretty on the bench there.
Ooh, and David got some pretty good cards. We've got a Drizzle, Evolution Sense, and an Avery, which isn't the best draw supporter that they've got in their arsenal, but they can Drizzle for whatever they'd fancy on this one.
So it might be, if you wanted to go mega greedy almost, I'd say it could be Drizzle for the choice spell Avery, hope to draw into Rapid Strike energy, and then that at that point would almost seal the game. But or they could play it safe and just go for a move, say with I'd say they go for a Bird Keeper, but I don't believe they play more than one. No, so
at a stretch they could possibly air balloon the Urshifu down into the Sobble, Drizzle for a scoop up net, and they could Gale Thrust again this turn.
The air balloon's already on the Metacham, unfortunately, and they only run one.
Oh,
so
no.
Sadly not an option.
That's not an option. That's a shame.
Yeah, so there we go. Drizzle does come down. Of the first shady dealings of this game, coming into play, and the choice spell is in the deck. We do see, but maybe that's not what David goes for. Maybe he thinks that the play's too risky because it's not that likely that you hit the Rapid Strike energy off the Avery.
No, and there's nothing that really, there's not a lot of cards in format at all that search special energy other than maybe Piers.
Yeah, or Arceus V-Star.
Yes, of course, with the fantastic Starbirth ability. So,
yeah. Well, Tower of Waters, though.
Well, that's very interesting. That could change things.
Yeah.
Drizzle can manual retreat. I don't think I spotted an energy in their hand, though. But Medicham has... Oh, no, because it's a manual. Oh, it could still be quite difficult because they can only manual retreat once per turn.
Yeah, so it has to be, maybe actually... I think I know what I was thinking here. Yeah, go for Tower of Waters, play the Avery, see what you get, and then depending on that, make a decision on what you want to go for from there. Actually, that's a it's a pretty solid draw from the Avery as well, and because finding the Mew, now able to play down a Tower of Waters, use that to retreat the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX for free, and now go for a Mysterious Tail.
And pray for a scoop up net. There it is. That didn't take long at all, that Mysterious Tail putting in exactly the amount of work that David was hoping for.
Yeah, although David should probably remember to shuffle the rest of the deck, because I think he got so excited he just literally ripped the scoop from the top and didn't even shuffle the rest back in properly.
No, so that will probably need to be done before the end of the turn.
Yes.
But they might be going back in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true, actually, because there is an Evolution Incense in hand. But no, so...
No, so they're going to give it a good shuffle now.
Okay, yeah. And this is a trick you see some of the top players sort of employing it sometimes, just recognizing, okay, I know I need to shuffle, but at this point I'm trying to play quickly, so just I might go back in, and then once I'm done, I know that there's nothing else happening that could be affected by whether I shuffle or not, then I'll shuffle the deck and pass it back over. As long as both players are understanding what's going on or in agreement, it's usually fine.
Yeah, and we saw them have a little bit of a natter there, so I imagine that's probably what went on. Didn't hit the Bird Keeper in the prizes.
No. Yeah, that is a bit of a shame. Although, vitally, another Arceus... No, not Arceus, so keep me speaking. Another Rapid Strike Urshifu V coming down onto the bench, which is important because, let's face...
Even the V is very scary.
Yes, it is. Down with an attachment, knowing that the active Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max is almost certainly going to be KO'd. Now you have a follow-up attack of the next turn, and this is where Philip starts to get a bit worried. Yeah,
David's definitely in a very scary position here. Because they have taken a lot of prize cards at this point. 2 more would seal the deal. And they can do a lot of bench damage. And Chinchinos and Eevees sadly have quite low HP.
Yeah, there is finally the Jolteon coming down with evolving the memory capsule Eevee. So no, there's going to be no out for the Inteleon to come down with the Shady Dealings to grab the exact leader trainers from the deck, unfortunately for David. But David is set up not too badly at this point, so it might not even be a problem, honestly.
Possibly not, but the Urshifu doesn't have any fighting energy on yet.
No, so the vital find for David next turn is going to be that Rapid Strike energy. If he's able to find it, he doesn't even need to find the VMAX because 100 Furious Blows will do 150, which doubles for weakness and knocks out the Arceus V, but there is a Marnie.
There's also the option that a Raihan could be really, really interesting.
Oh, that's true.
That could also turn the tides, but there's a fighting energy in hand, and Sonya was the supporter.
So Sonya not going to do it, I think.
No, but the fighting energy alone could be enough because of the air balloon magic jam.
Oh, that is true, actually.
Depending if they get the VMAX or not.
Because then you could, in theory... Oh, that could actually be really sick because I'm fairly sure David is playing the... Yeah, he's playing the Rapid Strike Inteleon as well with quick shooting. So, but the stadium gets countered.
Ooh, no easy retreat.
No, that takes away that option, unfortunately. But, there is the air balloon.
No, there's the air balloon.
Oh, wait,
so
okay, yeah, so he's got it.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, that's it.
They've got it.
Yeah.
So this is going to take a KO here because they can just search for that Urshifu VMAX. We know it's in deck.
And there's the fighting energy.
Give it the fighting energy. Good game from both opponents.
Yeah, so, of course, David, we were saying, how's he going to retreat? But, of course, there was an air balloon, Redisham there, still ready to go. So, with the Evolution Instance and the fighting energy, David does find the game, was able to find the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, go for the Gale Thrust, knock out the Arceus V, and that is going to be all she wrote. David Storm wins the game 2-1 and goes up to, I do believe that's a 9-1-1 record.
Fantastic record. Definitely a really, really tough matchup for Philip there. Really didn't want to see fighting types today.
No, and to be fair, Philip played his absolute heart out in game 2 and was able to squeak out in a sort of a game where it looked like David might actually be able to just about sneak the win and recover after starting so slow. Philip able to just eke out in the end, but unfortunately, game 3 kind of went more along the lines of how we would expect it.
Absolutely, and we did see the Jolteon in all 3 games, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, Jolteon was able to come out and make an impression in all 3 games, but it wasn't quite enough, unfortunately.
Sadly not.
No.
Sadly not.
No. So yeah, with that, it's a shame for Philip because if he won, he would have actually had the chance to essentially lock up his spot in day 2. But as it stands currently, he'll still have to win 1 more, and he's still very favoured to get to that top 8 spot, given that this was literally table 1. He doesn't need much more to get there, but he would have liked to lock it up now if he could.
Oh, absolutely. And I have no doubt that they will try their hardest today. Hopefully for them, they won't see too many more fighting decks today. There isn't an overwhelming amount. I think that was quite an unlucky pairing.
Yeah, it was a little bit. We've seen there are a few Rapid Strike Urshifu's around, but it's not as the biggest contender in the day 2 metagame. If you look at the breakdown, by far, Mew VMAX is definitely the one deck that we've seen the biggest resurgence almost after having a little bit of lull in play for a while. It kind of, if you see its popularity, it almost goes like a U shape, right? Very popular at the beginning with, of course, that win with Natalie Miller at Brisbane Regionals, and then kind of down ticking, and now all of a sudden it's shot way back up again.
Yeah, if you group together the RCS decks, then that definitely takes the cake in regards to popularity. But there are so many different builds, and they are so different, and they do such different things. You can't possibly group them all together.
No, absolutely not. And that's the tricky thing, because there's so many different ways to play Arceus. It's like, would you even consider all these all the same deck? Because I think it's safe to say something like Arceus Inteleon plays just straight with nothing else. Plays very differently to something like Arceus Malamar or Arceus Darkbox or all these other different insane Arceus variants that we see.
Different. And that's the lovely thing about Arceus. You can pair it with almost your favorite Pokemon, and it can make it do okay. It may not be the best deck in format, but it can certainly do better than it might do, than your favorite Pokemon might do on its own. And I think that's something that I really like and admire about the card, is that it can make decks that seem underwhelming suddenly a lot more consistent and viable.
Yes. So of course, for this time, we will be having a interview with our feature match winner there, of course, David Sturm. I'm not sure if that's quite ready for you yet, but we'll have an interview ready soon, I would like to think. So, no, so, oh, wait, I just got word apparently that there'll be no interview, apparently, so I guess we're not going to have time for that. But we do have something very exciting coming up. We will have the seniors finals for you here.
Ooh, that's exciting. Very lovely. It's nice to see our different age brackets today as well, because we do focus a lot on the Masters, and they're not the only ones here fighting their heart out.
No, of course, and it is one thing. It's kind of understandable that we would focus on the Masters. Of course, it is like the largest age division, and like most of the well-known players are there. But if you get all the way to like the finals of your age division, at least, surely you deserve to be featured on the feature match. I think
absolutely deserve to be on the top spot. These guys have worked so hard to be here. They deserve all the praise in the world.
Yeah, they do. So we are going to cut to a quick break in the meantime, just whilst the seniors finalists get ready and set up. But don't go anywhere, and tune back in not very long to catch the seniors finals.